The myth of the Brexit voter. I'm Mike Cashman. The channel is Britannia Waves the Rules. Please subscribe. I've written with Augusta Lees a book of satire and parody about the damage of the last couple of years on our political system. It's my party on our live if I want to. Scan that QR code and you can buy the book. But this is a serious video about the myth of the Brexit voter. What do I mean by the myth of the Brexit voter? Well, there's actually a lot of myths, but I'm talking about generalisations, statements that all Brexit voters think this or do that or have this view or whatever. The generalisations are all wrong. This is 52% of the people who voted, 37 or 38% of the electorate that were eligible to vote in that referendum, and they had very many different views. Now, I do not make these generalisations. Sometimes Brexit supporters accuse me of making such generalisations by saying all you Remainers, pro-EU people, anti-Brexiters are the same. Well, that's an equally invalid generalisation. But there are people who do make those generalisations, saying things like, I've seen what these pro-Brexit people write, you can't convince them. Now, look, most people are not politically active in the sense of they're not writing or saying things in order to persuade other people to vote in a particular way. I am politically active, hence this channel, but the vast majority of people are not. And that means when you see something written on social media seeking to persuade people of a particular point of view, then you're looking at something written by a small percentage of the population who are not representative of the views of that group of the population as a whole. For example, I never claim to speak for all pro-EU people. I express a point of view and you can decide whether you agree with it or not. So judging everybody, for example, everybody who voted for Brexit, by the sample of those who are writing about it is inherently inaccurate. It's more particularly inaccurate because those who are still supporting Brexit are a dwindling percentage of the totality of those who voted for Brexit. Other people may be influenced by what the activists say, but without evidence, you don't know that. So it's unfair to judge all those who voted for Brexit, for example, by those who write about reasons for still supporting Brexit. It's unfair, and it's also unwise, because if we're seeking to persuade people, then complaining about the way that they voted in 2016 is not the best way to do it. As I've also said elsewhere, nobody got persuaded by being abused. There is a persistent critic on this channel who falls into the same logical fallacy, and you will see often a response which says, I am a Leave voter, I am your target audience, persuade me. Somebody who is that active on social media, that busy, that dedicated, one might almost say obsessed, if you look at the comments on this channel, with making a case on the channel of one person who is arguing for the EU, is certainly not the target market, is not representative of all Leave voters for the reasons that I've said. But the fallacy continues, on both sides, to be fair. Fallacious assumptions made by Leave voters and by Remain voters. There are plenty of people who voted for Brexit whose view now is, well, I voted for Brexit because I thought it would be a good thing for the country. I thought there would be more money for the NHS, more money for education. I can see now that it isn't a good thing for the country, and so I don't support it anymore. Now, it's true that it's a pity that it's not as easy to reverse the effects of that referendum as it is to throw out a government who have proved untrustworthy, such as the current government. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. There are other videos on that subject on the channel. The point is that it's perfectly valid to recognise that people looked at what they were being told, voted on that basis, and it's easy to say the facts were all there if you examine them. But the point is, one cannot expect the whole electorate to read the analysis in the New Statesman or the Spectator or the Economist or the Financial Times. That's not the way that elections work. They're won on slogans and messages. And in 2016, the Leave campaign had some powerful slogans and messages that persuaded people. So let us not generalise about all Brexit voters. Let's recognise that those who voted for Brexit in 2016, in many cases, have come to a different view now. And let's not tar all those who voted for Brexit with the brush that we may think applies to those who are still maintaining that it's a good idea, which is much harder to support. That's the message from me, but what do you think? I'm Mike Cashman. Channel is Britannia Waves the Rules. Do subscribe. Thank you.